Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you want to be. Step 4.
Hey guys, welcome back or welcome to my channel. So for today's video I am doing my December wrap up. So I read 26 books in the month of December, which I'm really impressed with because I did have a moment where I wasn't thinking I was going to read that many books because I wasn't feeling well and my business was picking up and I just was getting so overwhelmed. I just didn't think I was going to read, but then I took a couple of days off and just read. I literally just read, and I'm actually for little books, so let's go through them. So the first book I read is Feather and Flame by Livia Blackburne, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars to. So this one I read in my Disney vlog, where I read Disney books for a week. So my thoughts are more in that video if you want to see it. So I'm not going to talk too much about that one. The next book was an arc, but I did unfortunately DNF it because I couldn't get into it. Like, the story just wasn't enticing me, and that was Love Exiled by Cait Hardcastle. The next one was another arc, which I received an audio book of, which was School of Hard Knocks by Oliver Strong, which again unfortunately I DNF. But for me this one, it was a struggle because there was so much background and sound effects that it made it very hard to get into the story and hear the story and actually know what was happening. But the author has sent me an ebook version, so I will be reading it again at some point and hopefully get into it more then. Next I read the Hopeless series by Colleen Hoover. So Hopeless, Losing Hope and All Your Perfects I rated 4 out of 5 stars. Finding Cinderella I rated 3.5 out of 5 stars, and Finding Perfects I rated 3 stars. I really enjoyed this series and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Do check trigger warnings because there is some tough topics, but it was enjoyable and it was emotional, and I wasn't expecting All Your Perfects. I see how it's linked in, and you do have to read it in the order of Hopeless, Losing Hope, Finding Cinderella, All Your Perfects, and then Finding Perfects. I do recommend reading it in that order because then everything will make sense. And I am glad I did read it in that order, because if I didn't, I think I would have been very confused and you would wonder why All Your Perfects links in. Obviously you can read All Your Perfects as standalone, but I think if you read it all together, I think it's actually there's more story to it, so I think it might be more enjoyable for you to read if you haven't read it already. I then read Big Chicas Don't Cry by Annette, Chavez, Macias, which I rated 3.5 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed this one. It was a struggle to get into to start with, and you do see a lot of different perspectives. So you follow these 4 cousins and you see all their different point of views over this time period. And it did get to a point where it was quite a lot going on, and it was probably too much. I personally think that maybe you could have done 2 cousins in 2 different books. So 2 cousins in one book, 2 cousins in one book, and I think then you could have delved it deep into their stories a bit more, but without it being too overwhelming. It was enjoyable. I do recommend reading it, and the underlying story is beautiful and it's well written. It's just a lot going on. I then read 2 books for my reading YouTuber recommended videos. Sorry, I've sneezed on my eye. I read None Shall Sleep by Ellie Marney, which I rated 4.75 out of 5, and Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, which was 4.5 out of 5. Again, my views are in that video, which I will leave linked up above to both those videos. I then read The Ways by Virginia Woolf, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars. I felt so stupid reading this book because it is such... The writing is so different to writing of today. It's written so differently, and some of the wording choices is so different, and it's just... once I got past the points of feeling stupid, I could appreciate the story. And I do appreciate the story, and I appreciate the writing and the story behind it and the meaning. Like, I appreciate that so much, but I still felt so stupid reading it, I can't lie. I felt like it was not a book I should be reading. I then read The Art of Death by David Fennell, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this one as well. The twists and turns in this one, I wasn't expecting. Like, there was points where I kind of was like, oh, okay, maybe it could go in this direction, or maybe it can go in this direction, but it still managed to surprise me. And I do recommend, if you're looking into like a thriller, especially like a psychological thriller, I think this would be a pretty good one, and it's not one that I've really heard talked about, so I do highly recommend reading it if you haven't already. Next was an art copy from the author, which I rated 3.5 stars out of 5, and it was Escape from Magic by Emily ByBee. So I read the book before this one, the arc, a few months ago. I think it's Droplets of Magic. I think is, let me have a look because I don't want to get it wrong. Yeah, Droplets of Magic was before this one, and this was Escape from Magic. And again, I enjoyed it. You do see this side from a different character that you meet in the book before this. But there was also quite difficult to read as well. I'm not really sure my full thoughts on this one, so I can't really give too much an opinion because I'm still today trying to judge it. But yeah, I then read The Fair Botanists by Sara Sheridan, which was, I gave 3 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed this one. I did. The research and the history behind it has been well done. Like, the author has really done her research into this and to the facts she's put in there, which I then think it definitely gave to the story, definitely. But there were points where it was a bit harder to get into, and I do feel like sometimes the research and the facts took over the plot, and you sort of lost the plot at times, and then it was scrambling to get back to where it was going. So I did enjoy it, but it was one of those ones where it just sort of derailed quite a few times. I then read Survive the Night by Livia, which I gave 3.75 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as Home Before Dark. It is a very quick read, so it's so easy to read. Really read it like in a few seconds easily. And it's all based on in one night, and I definitely wasn't expecting the turn of what happened. Like, I wasn't expecting that. There were little bits that, like, leading up to it that was kind of like, I guess, but the main plot and the main twist I wasn't expecting at all. So it's really well done. I do want to read more Friday's Acres work at some point. I then read the Slam series by Colleen Hoover. So Slammed and Point of Retreat I rated 3.75 out of 5, and this girl I rated 3 out of 5. I enjoyed the series, I did. Do I think we needed this girl? No, personally. I think it would have done well as like a duology and just been Slammed at Point of Retreat. I think it would have done well just being those 2 books. I don't really think we needed the 3rd one. Do obviously again check trigger warnings and stuff. But yeah, it was interesting to say the least. Colleen Hoover, I get on pretty well with Colleen Hoover's writing. I know she does have a lot of tough topics in her books, and they can be quite hard and for people to read, and she does write disturbing situations. But her writing is still enjoyable at the same time, which doesn't make it easier to read these subjects, for me anyway. I then read The Therapist by B.A. Paris, which I rated 4 out of 5. Really enjoyed this one. Wasn't expecting the ending, like, but B.A. Paris's writing was so good. It just, you like sort of just flew for it. I was literally just flying through this book and just reading. But yeah, the twists and the turns was amazing. The writing beautiful. You do get. There were some points where I was worried it was gonna steer in a different direction, because it could have gone in a direction, but steer away from the plot. That's what I'm trying to say. I did think that, but she managed to put it back and it redeemed itself. I then read All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I thoroughly enjoy this one. It is another The Fault in Our Stars vibe kind of book, and I really felt like I could relate to Finch and Violet. As someone who I personally suffer with mental health, I do suffer really bad, and I have been suicidal myself. So it was tough to read, but for me it's also nice to see the representation and to know that see people bringing awareness to this subject and to this taboo topic. I can't speak. It's getting late at night. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this one, and the writing done it really good justice. I then read Orphan Boy by Elizabeth Jill, which I gave 2 out of 5 stars. I really struggled with this one, I can't lie. It's the writing. Let me start again. The story and the meaning is beautiful. Once you get to that and you read that, yes. But I couldn't get into the writing. The writing just was not for me at all. I have nothing more to say. I just couldn't. I then had another art copy, which again I DNF'd, which was Siren School by Alona Williams. I was really disappointed this month with the art books that I was reading, because I couldn't get into them. They all seem so lovely, and I guess that's the thing with books. They get promoted and published so well that it entices you to read them, and then you feel such hype for them, and then you just get let down. So I think I was too high a hope for the books, and yeah, they just didn't do them justice. So I have nothing else to say. I then read Without Merit by Colleen Hoover, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars. This is, I think, got to be one of my least favourite Colleen Hoover books, without a doubt. The meaning behind, yes, and again, someone with mental health, seeing that representation, it's nice to see. But it's still tough to read, and I don't know if it was written with justice for this one. And some of the topics and situations were just too disturbing for me, and I couldn't get into this one. I then read A Journey Through a History of Magic, which is, it's a Harry Potter related book, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I have nothing more to say. And then I finished off the month with Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this one, I really did. I listened to the audiobook, so I found that my phone cut off recording, but as I was saying, Rock, Paper, Scissors, Alice Feeney, 4 out of 5 stars. Listened to the audiobook and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was with the audiobook they had different narrators, which I think gave it justice, and it made the story feel more alive and realistic, and I was not expecting the ending at all. I didn't even have any thoughts that it was going to go in that direction. Like that was complete and utter surprise to me. which I think is, I like it so much. But yeah, that was all the books that I read in December. I've really struggled putting my thoughts into words, as you can probably tell, so I apologise if you don't quite know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, hopefully just the ratings in themselves have done it justice. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know how your December went with reading, how your 2022 went with reading in the comments down below, and yeah, let me know what you want to see, any videos you want to see coming up in 2023, and I will catch you in my next video. Don't forget to keep smiling, be kind, keep reading. Bye guys.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up,